G'day kids, thanks for tuning in to another Aussie episode. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that way you won't miss out on any of the new videos we put out, and it would certainly make my day. In the meantime, enjoy this video.
Ozzie, 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 oi! Ozzie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of mine.
G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie. G'day Ozzie.
G'day kids, Ozzie here. What a treat we're in for today, as we are joined by Australian decathlete Ash Moloney. Ash became a household name in the recent Tokyo Olympics, where his incredible performance over 2 days on the athletics track earned him a bronze medal, the first ever Olympic medal for an Australian decathlete. And we even get to see it. Ash joined me via Zoom chat to talk about the sport of decathlon and how he got started. He shares an inspiring message that you don't necessarily have to be the best at something, just the most consistent across multiple events with a keen attitude to work super hard. Now kids, this chat is awesome. So come on, let's meet Ash Moloney for a few laughs and to find out how he likes to stay keen. G'day Ash, Ozzie here. Mate, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey man, how's it going? Yeah, no problems.
Mate, I'm doing really well. Now for the kids out there that don't know Ash, you are an Australian decathlete, a very successful one I might add, as part of the Australian Olympic team. And you've just returned home from competing at the Tokyo Games, where you won that you're just holding there. You were fiddling with it as we just started chatting. Would you like to show everyone?
The new paperweight.
New paperweight. How's it feel, mate, holding that?
It's quite girthy. It's quite big.
Still sinking in by looks, mate.
Yeah, it's still sinking in.
Nice one, mate. Well, I just want to say a big congratulations for that, and a massive thank you again for coming on board and sharing your story with the kids, and hopefully inspiring the next generation of athletes, and who knows, some future competition for you in the decathlete. Who knows, eh?
Yeah, my pleasure, mate. It's an honor to be here.
Now, mate, there's a lot of kids out there that will be watching this, and a lot of them probably don't know much about the decathlon. So I think it's perfect that we start with a question from one of our little fans. This one is from 10-year-old Caden in Perth, and he would like to ask, of the 10 events in the decathlon, which one is your favorite and why?
There are times where I have favorites, but there are also times where I love the decathlon as a whole. But if I had to pick the one where has been my most favorite recently, it'd have to be the pole vault. It's been improving well, and I guess that's what it's all about, is like, I really enjoy the puzzle, how difficult it is to try and learn every single event. And it's quite a unique feeling where like you're really enjoying pole vault one day and then you're enjoying the 100 the next because you're PBing. And yeah, it depends which event I'm doing really well in. Yeah,
nice. It always feels better when you're, ticking boxes and kicking goals and achieving PBs in a particular event. It's always going to probably become your favorite. There are, as I said, there's 10 different events in decathlon. Can you quickly run through them for the kids?
All right, so day one, we start the day off with 100 meters. We quickly move on to the long jump. And then we move on to shot put, high jump, then 400 meters, and then we're done for the day.
Okay.
Next day, we start off with a 110 meter hurdles, discus, then pole vault, javelin, and then the 1500.
That's a lot of different skills to master. I would love to know more about the training. How do you train for so many different sports? How do you prioritize it? How does your week look?
So training for decathlon is kind of feels like you're throwing everything on the table, right? It's quite unique in its own way, but it ends up just being, I'd picture it as a day of school, except you really love school, right? So you turn up, you do your gym, and then you have your lunch, and then you're doing your running set. So this could take all day sometimes. And you know what? Picture it as a giant PE class for 6 hours. that's how my days are sometimes structured.
Sounds pretty perfect to me. And
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of Aussie kids would love to be able to just do PE and sport all day.
Well, yeah, that's it. PE and sport all day. That's what the decathlon is.
Absolutely. Mate, there are a lot of other Olympic sports. So how is it that you chose decathlon? And at what age were you when you first tried it?
I was about 15 when I first started decathlon,
Okay.
but I started athletics probably around, I want to say around 10. And I was just experimenting. You know, I wasn't particularly good at anything when I started. You never are though. And I don't know, it just kind of, the puzzle was just kind of, it all kind of just happened. And I just met the right people. My coach, I was just a high jumper at the time, and he was just like, hey, you should try running. And then suddenly, hey, you should try long jump. Hey, you should try pole vault. And then suddenly I was doing the decathlon. And I can never thank him enough for pushing me in that direction.
Yeah, he certainly filled your days and weeks up with having to train for 10 sports. Did you ever feel like pushing back and saying, no, I feel like just doing one sport instead of doing 10? Or were you just keen for a big challenge of doing 10 different sports in the one event?
So leading up to doing decathlon, I was already going to nationals for a couple of events.
Cool.
And I didn't want to give up any of them. Like I really enjoyed, triple jump's not in it, but I really enjoyed triple jump, long jump, high jump, and pole vault. And then I was starting to get decent at the 100 meters as well. And I was just enjoying it. And I couldn't give it up. And that's how the conversation kind of started with decathlon, how my coach kind of pushed me in that direction. And yeah.
Nice, I like it. So you've done athletics for quite a while. What would you say to kids that are keen to give athletics a try?
Athletics is the one sport where any body shape, no matter what, can do something in athletics. If you're a big, strong man, you can do shot put. If you're a big, strong man, you can do 100 meters. Like there's 101 things you can do in athletics, and you will make a million friends doing it too.
That's great. And as you said before, you're not going to be good at all those things when you first start, right? So it's obviously years of hard work and just continuing to improve on your performances and be the best that you can be. And in your case, that's becoming an Olympian, representing Australia and getting yourself a bronze medal. So nice little message to send the kids out there.
Yeah, just because you're not the best when you start, you got to remember no one is the best when they start. Like everyone's got to start from somewhere, and you could be at rock bottom in comparison to the others, but you could be at the top by the end of the year if you try hard enough.
I like it. You just got to keep trying and working hard and keep enjoying it, right? You got to love what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you're going to have people telling you, oh, you should stop because of this or that. And I had a lot of people telling me that, like, especially in school, like people saying like, oh, it's not the Olympics. Well, guess what? It is now. So
that's beautiful, mate.
Ignore what other people have to say, because someone's always going to say something.
Yeah, that's right. You just got to believe in yourself, stay true to your goals, work hard, and you'll achieve them. I like it.
Exactly.
Now, mate, your event goes over 2 days. We have a 2-part question, actually, from another little Aussie fan. This is from 13-year-old Kiralee in Perth, and she would like to know, firstly, what is your go-to pre-race meal the night before competing? And then how do you sustain your motivation and energy across all 10 events across the 2 days?
Good question. My go-to before decathlon is anything carb-based. So that would be pasta, rice, pizza. I've done pizza in the past because I wasn't able to get pasta or rice. Pasta is my number one go-to. And yeah, anything carb-based. If I had to, I've done in the past just potatoes.
Right.
Like literally I've had one massive plate of potatoes because there was no pasta, there was no rice, there was no pizza. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to suck this up and just have potatoes. That was a boring dinner. But And that's part of her other part of the question is that helps sustain the next 2 days, because we've eaten so much potatoes or pasta or rice. It carb loads and like fills your muscles full of glycogen or whatever my coach calls it. And motivation, the decathlon goes up and down, you know? So
Yeah.
obviously when you're doing well, your motivation is like way up here. But if you have a stack and I don't know, something just doesn't go to plan, it can drop off, but you need to think, you need to take it one step at a time. And for us, that's one event at a time. So you can't turn up to the 100 meters thinking about the long jump. You got to turn up to the 100 meters only thinking about the 100 meters.
Nice.
And I take that into what I do daily as well in my life. So if I'm at the gym, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing after the gym. I'm going to gym to get better at gym. If I'm going to work, I'm going to work to get better at working. So a good life lesson to cut.
Certainly is, mate. And thank you for sharing that with the kids. Where were you when you found out that you were going to be an Olympian, and what was that moment like for you?
So I was in Brisbane actually, and just straight after lockdown, we had this comp lined up, December, late December, right before Christmas, and we needed to get a qualifier to get the stress out of the way, because we knew we could win nationals because there's not many decathletes in that realm. There were Cedric and I, who's another decathlete, and we have Dan Golubovich and Alec Diamond, who are about 8K decathletes as well, which is near the qualifier. And I got the Australian record, which was an awesome experience. And I was like, there was no way they're not going to send me to the Olympics. I got the Australian record and I've got the qualifier. And that was when I realized I was going to become an Olympian.
Nice, mate. Would have been a pretty amazing experience and a great feeling, no doubt.
Yeah, I got home and I was just like, wow. I looked at my ceiling and I was going to bed because, like, obviously we couldn't celebrate. We couldn't do anything like that because COVID and it's almost Christmas. So, so yeah, we just looked at the ceiling. I was like, wow, I just did that.
Good on you, mate.
What's
And
next?
had it been a long-term goal to become an Olympian?
Yeah, my goal for athletics was always my dream was always to compete in front of a crowd, not necessarily at the Olympics, but it was to compete in front of a crowd and kind of feel like a bit of a rock star.
Like it.
That's what my dream has always been about, and I'm stoked to have made the Olympics and come away with a medal, because my dream is slowly coming closer, and COVID's put a little bit of a halt on that, but I got World Championships and Com Games and World Indoor Championships to look forward to, and future Olympics.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I hope you do feel like a rock star, mate, because you represented our country like a rock star. You competed so well. You and Cedric, who you mentioned before, who we'll touch on a bit later, but I'm sure he inspired you to compete as well as you did. But when you were growing up, was there any Olympians that inspired you on your journey?
This is a bit of a rough question for me because I never actually looked up to anyone growing up. Obviously, when I was getting into athletics, I did look up to other athletes, Cedric included, because he was going to like world championships and stuff as I was growing up. But I never really looked up to anyone when I was growing up. For me, athletics was actually about fitting in school. I had it a little bit rough starting athletics because, I don't know. Yeah, I just had a little bit rough starting athletics. And for me, it was a way to fit in. And it's done that for me. And that's the beautiful thing about sport. It can bring people together.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's obviously made you feel like you fit in, but it's now that you're competing at the top of your game, you're the best in Australia, you've won a bronze medal, so you're third best in the world. It's also making you stand out and hopefully inspire a lot of kids that are feeling that way, that they're feeling like they're not fitting in, to follow a similar path and just be who they are and try things new and work hard towards whatever goals they set themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like because I've had that experience as a kid, I kind of feel responsible in my own way to lift those kids who don't exactly fit in with the other kids. They're great kids. They don't fit in with those particular crowds. And that was my case growing up. I just didn't fit in with the crowd. And athletics gave me that.
That's amazing. Now we touched on some Olympians, so I think it might be a nice time to put in a question that we have from another little Aussie fan. This one is from two sisters, 3-year-old Lola and 7-year-old Evie. They're from Sydney. Now get this question. They said, do you think you'll ever be able to throw the javelin as far as my pa? Now, I'll give you a bit of a backstory. These two little girls are the granddaughters of Peter Hadfield. Now, Pete, I'm not sure if you're aware of Peter Hadfield. Peter was the best decathlete in Australia for 10 years, represented Australia at the Olympics in Moscow in 1980 and also in Los Angeles in 1984. And I'm told he threw 65 metres back in the day.
That's a big throw.
Big throw. But one thing that you do have over him is his best decathlon score is 8,019. What's yours, Ash?
8,649.
So I think that was a loaded question from Lola and Evie. What's your personal best in javelin?
My personal best is only 57. To be able to throw over 60 is an incredible feat by any decathlete. So that's highly admirable. To throw over 60 meters is it's a big throw.
Yeah, it's massive, mate. But the beauty of decathlon shows and proves that you don't actually have to excel at one sport. You've got to be great across all of them, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like, any shape and size can dominate in athletics. Like, you look at Cedric, he's a very thin decathlete, but he's still scoring like international high standards in decathlon. And then you got Nicholas Call. He's a good runner, but he's not amazing. And he can throw 80 meters in javelin, which is just deadly.
Wow.
Yeah. He was actually able to, I'm pretty sure he won the World Youth Championships and the decathlon when he was coming through, which was just insane. He's an incredible decathlete. And then you have Kevin May, who's a jack of all trades. He's really good at every single event. And then you have Damian Warner, the world champion. He's a bit shorter than us, but bloody hell, he is fast and deadly.
Yeah. So it takes all sorts of people with different strengths in different sports, right?
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has their own mix. And that's the beautiful thing about decathlon is there is no perfect mix.
Yeah. Now, decathlon, for the most part, is an individual sport, right? You're out there, you're competing on your own. But I know that you train as part of a team, and the scenes from Tokyo with yourself and Cedric Dubler prove that it's far from an individual sport. What kind of feeling do you get from your teammates and those that you train with?
So the decathlon is the most unique event you can possibly do. So obviously it's an individual event, as you've said, and it's like competing in a team sport. But in a team sport, when your teammates are cheering you on, it's for the betterment of themselves, because they're going to win as well if you do well.
Yep.
But in the decathlon, your teammates are also your competitors. And it's funny because even competitors from other countries are also cheering you on. Like Martin Rowe, like I was clapping him on in the high jump, like for him to do well. And it's not for the betterment of yourself. If anything, it makes your life a lot harder if they do well. And that's the beautiful thing about decathlon is we want each other to do well because we know we're all in this together. And yeah, like to me, that is the most amazing thing about decathlon. That's what drew me into it the most, to be honest, was like the feeling of it's a brotherhood. And for the girls, it's a sisterhood. And with the heptathlon, it's just the same.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a unique unique part of your sport. And thanks for the insight, because as an outsider looking in, we can observe those things, but to hear it from you is fantastic. And it was so evident with the way you and Cedric were there for each other, and particularly, the images that we saw back here in Australia during the games were Cedric yelling at you, or yelling to you, the encouragement in the 1500 meter event, because he knew what you needed to achieve in that event to get that bronze medal. Can you remember what he was saying to you? Did you hear him?
I wouldn't say it on television, but
Wouldn't have thought so.
no.
It was encouraging, though.
It was extremely encouraging, and I'm so proud of the way it came out on television as well. Because it's not often we get to see that, especially for the decathlon, because we have this brotherhood, but no one really sees it because we're just talking amongst ourselves, cheering each other on. And for it to become so big and in Australia, it really shows what the decathlon's all about and what Australians are all about too. Yeah,
we really are. I mean, it's in our genetic makeup, isn't it, that we have mateship for each other, and that's why some of those scenes of you and Cedric will stick with me, and I'm sure lots of parents, because they watch this as well, but kids as well, mate. You'll influence kids for generations with what you guys are able to do during the last few minutes of that 1500 meters. It was pretty special. And then when he came over to you at the finish line, he came straight over, and the embrace. It was extremely special, mate. So thank you for creating those moments and sharing them with Australia.
No, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. It's what the decathlon and the Olympics and the Australian spirit is all about, and I'm so proud of how that came out.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Now, talk to me about the Tokyo Olympic Athlete Village. What was your favorite thing about the village?
My favorite thing, apart from the extremely high-tech toilets they have in Japan.
Right. Talk us through those. Tell the kids what they're about. How are they high-tech?
How are they high-tech?
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. They have seat warmers, man.
Seat warmers.
They have this thing that it's like being in a shower before your bum. It's very weird. It's so high-tech, and I'm sure they would love it if they went to Japan. But I think my most favorite thing about the village was how friendly it was, You could go up to anyone and say, "Hi, how you going? What's your sport?" And you'd start a conversation with them. I met the 8-time Olympian while I was there.
Wow.
The equestrian. That was incredible. I was starstruck when I was there. And that's another favorite as well. When you're in the village, you get to see all these amazing athletes. Like if I was there in 2016, I would have saw Usain Bolt just casually walking around. That's how insane it is. You see all these incredible big names in the sport just casually walking around, It's
pretty special.
It was kind of really weird, and you kind of felt special as well, because you're supposed to also be one of those people just casually walking around, and everyone's looking at you and you're looking at them, and it's like, oh, I've seen you on TV. I've seen you on TV. That's what it's kind of like. And it's amazing. And it's not just from athletics. It's from every single sport in the world. Every single Olympic sport in the world as well. So you see boxing, obviously, equestrians, you see pentathletes, you see everything.
Yeah. It's a unique situation that the Olympics provides. And it's amazing to think that there's the world's best athletes all in one place, walking around, and they have the same opinion of each other. It's like, well, I can't believe I'm sharing the same space as this person. He's an amazing athlete and she's an amazing athlete. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? We all started out as kids with goals and aspirations, and some people have followed through on those goals better than others and have become more successful. But at the end of the day, you're all humans and you're all the same as each other. Cedric Dubler, Ash Moloney, Patty Mills, you're all incredible athletes and incredible humans.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's all about, is like we're not just robots.
No.
Like none of us are. And for us athletes that are there, that's what kind of really stands out. It's like, oh wow, like I'm in the same building as this guy. Like how does that make sense? Like, and it kind of fills you with confidence a little bit, because you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the same building as this super famous bloke. Like it's kind of incredible.
Yeah, and you know that they're sitting there saying, I'm in the same building as this super famous bloke called Ash Moloney, who just won a bronze medal.
Yeah, and as you were saying, like I saw Paddy Mills there. Like he's a incredible athlete. Like obviously everyone knows him.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I didn't mention as well, is like you got all these incredible Australian athletes, and like guys like Paddy Mills, who's obviously like he's a stupidly famous athlete, and he comes up to you and congratulates you, and you're like, oh wow, he knew. Yeah, that really sat well with me.
I'm sure it did, mate. I'm sure it was a great feeling. Mate, you're sitting there in quarantine. You're not being able to train as you normally would. Is it making you even hungrier to get out there and get back into training, or are you actually just enjoying the break?
I am enjoying the break, but I'm also getting very hungry while I'm in here. Like it's given me a lot of time to reflect, and I think that's the beautiful thing about quarantine that no one really talks about, is it gives you a lot of time to reflect on what you're doing in your life. Like, why are you doing this in your life? Like, and that's what quarantine has done for me, is I now know in the bottom of my heart that I want to go for gold in the next Olympics.
Nice.
And I don't know what that looks like yet. I've already started talking to coaches about it, and obviously that's always been the end game, is gold.
That's awesome. It's so good to hear that you're taking such a positive mindset and approach to what is a pretty crappy situation, having to come home from the Olympics and not just jump straight into celebrating it with your family and friends, but to be forced to sit there for 2 weeks in a room by yourself. But instead of getting upset about it, you're actually looking at things in a different way, and you're taking the opportunity to self-reflect, reset goals, and just ask yourself, am I doing this for the right reason, and what do I want my next goals to be? So that's awesome, mate.
Yeah, and I think if you're just sitting in quarantine being down in the dumps the whole time, like you're going to be down in the dumps the whole time. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Set yourself up for success with anything you do in your life, even if it's the worst situation. If you're looking at the positives out of it, you're going to get positives out of it. If you're just looking at negatives, you're going to get nothing out of it, and you're just wasting your time.
So true, mate. Smile and the world will smile back at you.
Oh yeah, exactly. Smiles are contagious.
I love it. So it's pretty safe to say that we'll see Ash Moloney back in, or hopefully going for gold in Paris.
I'm not going to count my chickens just yet before they hatch, but I'm going to go for it.
Nice, mate. It's pretty exciting. We've got Brisbane 2032. We've secured the games in Australia. I'm not sure what Ash Moloney, the athlete, will be doing then, but I reckon you're going to probably inspire some kids to hopefully go for an Olympic spot in whatever sport they choose to do. What would you say to those kids that are trying a new sport and setting their sights on becoming an Olympian?
I hope I see you there, 2032.
Nice one, mate. What sports would you like to see included? I know we had a few new sports at Tokyo, and we'll have the opportunity as a country to introduce new sports. What would you like to see?
I really enjoyed the new sports that were in Tokyo, like the skateboarding. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what I would like to see. I would like to see something unique though, you know, like something really unique. I don't know, like maybe we could bring in motorsports. I don't know. So I love the unique stuff, and I love how it brings communities together. Like this, I think it's done amazing things to the skateboarding community. Because I'm pretty sure that was a new sport in Tokyo. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I would love to just see something unique.
Yeah, skateboarding was a new sport.
Something really Australian. I don't know. Throw fishing in there. Like,
Hey, I've had people suggest that, wood chopping.
yeah, why not? Like, obviously it's not for me this side, but I would love to just see something that we don't usually get to see, something really Australian.
Yeah.
It's
Thong
something I
throwing.
would like to see.
Maybe
So-
thong throwing.
Yeah, who can throw the furthest thong and have like Nike thongs and whatever designed for throwing.
I like it. Ash, if you weren't a decathlete, what sport would you want to be really good at?
What sport would I really like to be good at? I would love to be really good at pole, but I'd also love to do a team sport, to be honest. I've never really been good at team sports because my ball handling skills are terrible, to be honest. I can barely kick a football straight. So I reckon I'd love to be good at that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, mate. What's one thing that you would not be able to live without?
Would not be able to live without?
Mm.
Good question. These days, I would say probably my phone because it's like you're on it all the time. Like, let's be honest. I would have to say maybe like my gaming consoles.
Okay.
They kill a lot of time.
What are you into?
So obviously your CODs, your Apex, your this, your that.
Nice. Kids watching may not be into those just yet, but hey, if gaming's their thing, that's what they should aim for, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a sport I'd love to see at the Olympics.
Nice.
I think that's esports.
Absolutely. There's a place for esports.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that I've done a little bit of esports in the past. I've played a lot of CSGO. And it is crazy how competitive esports has become. Like, it is absolutely incredible, and I'd love to see it. Like,
I reckon it'd be pretty
ridiculously
popular.
competitive. Oh yeah, like you can do it from home and like in your own space. Like, of course it's going to be popular, and of course it's going to get amazingly competitive.
Yep. Ash, where's the first place you want to go on holidays when the world is somewhat back to normal and where this COVID situation is behind us?
I would have to say Japan. I would love to go back.
And explore.
I never really got a chance to explore because of COVID reasons, and I love Japan's culture and pop culture as well.
Nice.
So I'd love to just be a part of that, and that's what I was really looking forward to when I heard that Japan got announced. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna see like Goku and all that sort of stuff just walking around, and like, like how they do all that cool stuff in Japan.
Yeah.
With their pop culture, and I was really looking forward to that, but we never really got to see too much of that. We saw a little bit of it, but not a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame that the world is in this current situation, but very grateful that the Olympics were able to go ahead, and I dare say you were pretty grateful too, mate, with that nice bronze medal there to add to your collection.
Yeah, oh yeah, grateful as, and I think people at home who were stuck in lockdown at the time were also extremely grateful. Like, it gave them something to watch as well, and probably inspired them while they're in lockdown to do something, because it's so easy to get down in the dumps and just be in bed all day, and then suddenly that bed all day turns into 2 days all in bed, and then that turns into 3, and then suddenly you've just spent a whole week in bed and have done nothing for a week. So I'm hoping it's inspired people to get up and do something.
Absolutely, mate. Do you have a favourite saying, Ash?
Favorite saying? Favorite saying? What do you mean by favorite saying? Like a motivational saying?
Yeah. Do you have a motto that you live by?
I think mine is you'll be right, mate. Like, because you will be right. Like, just because something bad has happened or something hasn't gone your way, you will be right. Like, you will wake up the next day.
I like it, mate. I dare say you're a kind of person that, I love that saying. I think you're the kind of person that likes to let their actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get that from me is I like to, my family is all about that as well, is let the scoreboard do the talking. Don't talk too much crap.
Nice, mate. Well, you chose a good sport in decathlon and not just the 100-meter sprinting.
Oh yeah, I do a bit more than that now.
Absolutely. All right. Interesting question, mate. If we all lived in a zoo, what animal would you be?
I wouldn't be a tiger. Wouldn't be an elephant. Salamander?
A salamander. That is such a good answer. Why?
I don't know. They just seem like fun creatures, and I feel like I would be a salamander.
I reckon you'd make a great salamander. I reckon you'd make a
thank
great
you, man.
anything that you put your mind to, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Good on you. All right, so we're going to ask some Aussie's keen questions. Quick fire questions. Vegemite or peanut butter?
Vegemite,
Superman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man,
Dogs or cats?
cats,
Cool. Milo, are we going hot or cold?
hot,
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
fly,
Nice. Would you prefer a pet dinosaur or a pet dragon?
dragon,
Would you rather be the funniest person alive or the smartest person alive?
smartest,
Gold medal or PB?
PB,
Nice. Final one. Tough question. Rice bubbles or wheat bix?
Can I put anything on them?
Absolutely.
Weet-Bix.
Nice. How do you have them?
I microwave mine. So I put milk in, and then I put a lot of sugar on. And then I chuck them in the microwave until it's warm,
Okay.
not too hot, and that's how I enjoy my Weet-Bix.
Very good. How many are you having in a bowl?
About 4 to 5.
Okay. Do you go multiple bowls or just the one?
Just the one.
Yep. And are we crushing our wheat bix or are we leaving them whole?
What monster crushes them?
That is the best answer. What monster crushes their wheat bix? That's great. All right, mate. We're going to finish with Aussie's final question. My favorite saying is stay keen. That's why I try and teach all the kids to just try lots of things, find what you love, and if you set your sights on something, then you can achieve that if you just stay keen. So, Ash Moloney, how do you stay keen?
It's all about turning. It's like a decathlon. It's like you just got to turn up to the line. Like you're gonna feel tired. You're gonna feel terrible. You're gonna feel like you've been hit by a bus after day one. Sometimes it's all about just turning up to the line because you know you want it. You know you want it, and sometimes it's just all about just being there. As much as you don't want to be, you just got to be there, and that's how I approach life.
I love it, mate. It's a beautiful message to share with the kids and inspire the kids. Thank you so much for your chat today. Thank you so much for providing Australia with some very memorable moments from the Olympics. We can't wait to see where the next journey takes you. So all the best with that. Thank you again, mate. And always stay keen.
You're welcome, mate. It's been my pleasure.
If you haven't already, make sure you get a grown up to help you hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any of the new and exciting videos that we put out. Speaking of new and exciting, if there's a video that you'd love to see Ozzie do, make sure you send us a message on our socials, on Facebook or Instagram at Ozzie for Kids. We'll see you again soon, kids. And until then, stay keen. Oh, and by the way, did you happen to find the hidden Ozzie icon in that video? Yeah, make sure you look closely because they're in every single video. That's right. Stay keen, kids.
Ozzie, 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 oi! Ozzie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of